All right, what's up, Facebook friends? Hope everybody's doing good today. I'm going to give this a minute to load up, let everybody get online. I got a good friend of mine that did a presentation, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it was a great presentation on how to become a neighborhood mayor. This guy's a good friend of mine, Andrew Gaydosh. Believe it or not, for all the realtors out there, Andrew has taken 100% market share in his lake community multiple years, featured on HGTV, does an awesome job with his community, literally 100% market share. And that's not a market where, it's 5 homes a year that are sold. It's a lake community. I want to say over 50, maybe even over 100 sales a year that he is the only realtor that works in that market. Since then, a couple realtors a year have done some business, but he literally built a welcome center to the whole community and more. So I wanted to show everybody out there that's looking to see how to really take over a market the right way and some of the things that Andrew has done with his interview from last week. So I'm going to replay this here for everybody. Any questions, drop them in the comments. This will be on here to replay at your leisure if you got to, run and do other stuff. But I'm going to bring it on here in 1 second. So again, drop your comments, and I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so you guys enjoy. I'm going to be sitting back watching with you and taking notes because there's no way I can sit here and not learn something from somebody who's selling hundreds of homes a year and took over his whole community. So enjoy the stream, and I'll be here for your questions.
Andrew Gaydosh, a 30 under 30 award winner, has been recognized as an industry leader by the country's top real estate brands, publications, and trade organizations. Andrew Gaydosh and Associates has been recently ranked by the Wall Street Journal as one of the top 200 real estate teams in the country and has earned the top honors from RE/MAX, GMAC Real Estate, Better Homes and Gardens, eXp Realty, and the National Association of Expert Advisors. Known for their outstanding marketing, their Andrew Gaydosh and Associates brand has been featured on True TV, NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox affiliates. Andrew has most recently been featured on a house hunting program on HGTV in a full feature episode. You may have seen Andrew speaking at the National Association of Realtors Conference promoting his Neighborhood Mayor program, a program developed to mentor agents on how to dominate an area. Andrew has achieved market share as high as 75% in neighborhoods he is seen as the neighborhood mayor. Here is Andrew Gaydosh. And here he is, Mr. Andrew Gaydosh. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, Nick? How are you, man?
Man, I am fantastic. I'm fantastic. And I'm super excited for this next topic we're going to be covering. So the topic is how to become the neighborhood real estate mayor. And I got to witness this presentation firsthand down in QS, and it just blew my mind. Actually almost inspired some of the things that we do as well. But why don't you kind of give us a brief, 3,500 foot overview of what you got going on?
Yeah, so basically we started out kind of organically creating an environment in a neighborhood that we lived in. It was a lake community. Right. And I was able to basically document everything we've done for the last 15 years in this community to just dominate the area. Right. We have lots of market share, and it's crazy. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, no, and it's man, what percentage market share do you have, or did I think you said it was like 98 or 100% the 1 year, right?
Yeah, we had 100% of the waterfront homes for many years in a row. Yeah, I think with a little bit of a better economy now, everybody and their uncles in it. So we've had a couple people that had brothers and sisters sold, but in the community we range from 55 to 75% consistently, and have been for the last 15 years of all the houses. And there's about 1,500 rooftops. So it's not a small development. It's a big development. And we've been able to maintain it.
Yeah, man. It's I'm super excited for you to go over the tactics and everything you've been using, because like you said, it's a system that you guys implement in order to do this, right? It's not just by luck or chance that this happens. It's year after year consistently happening.
Yeah, well, what's happened is it's year after testing and checking and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then iterating on that every year. And then about 4 years ago, we decided to go ahead and scale that and duplicate it into another larger development about 45 minutes away.
Nice.
So it's been interesting to see how that's, scaled the way we wanted it to, what did work and what didn't work.
Yeah, man. Well, I know people are on the edge of their seats, so I'm going to go ahead and give the reins to you. I know you got a great presentation ready, so I'll go ahead and bring your slides up and let you take the reins.
Let's do it. All right, cool. So basically, this is just a little bit of a presentation we put together. We talked about it at NAR last year, but I thought we'd kind of go over it today just to kind of give you kind of an idea of what we're doing. So we're talking about essentially your fundamentals of hyper local marketing, and we call it the Neighborhood Mayor Program. That's what we coined it. Our agents on our team, we refer to them as mini mayors, where we've gone in and helped partner with them on other developments that they live in or they want to work, and help them scale their own neighborhoods and become the mayor of their neighborhood as well. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. So just a little overview here. I'd like to kind of show you guys how to, the fundamentals of the system. Yeah. And we don't have to go into the detail, just do our time limits on how this all started. Yeah. But keep in mind that the entire, I think when we look back on it and how it grew organically, the entire program was built on one of our core values on our team, and that's make deposits in people's lives. So everything we do that you're going to hear about us doing on this presentation is just little deposits that we make in people's lives in the community, and not asking for anything in return. But when it is time to sell their home, we're top of mind, and they always think of us when it comes to that. So that's kind of where we're at to. We'll dive in here. So number one, you got to identify, like, where do you want to launch this? You can't just because you live in a neighborhood say, hey, this is a great place to work and spend money and put my effort into it. Yeah. You have to be very strategic about it. And Nick, I know you and I have talked about this many times. Yeah. There are a lot of neighborhoods out there that, man, the turnover is not there. Maybe it's the kind of neighborhood that nobody leaves because they love it, or new construction. Sometimes people can be there for 10, 15 years. That's not what we're talking about. We want a high transient neighborhood, one that's got not 100% tied to one economic source, like one factory. We want diversity, so that in all kind of markets, you can get in and out, and it does well. But so basically, we want to identify which one you're going to use, or which neighborhood you're going to go into. And this doesn't have to be a geographic area too. It can be a demographic group. Your neighborhood could be your church. It could be your sphere of influence. It could be whatever it is. As long as you quantify what it is and you're able to define it, and there's some constant consistency to it, and the others know what you're referring to when you market about that particular group, that can be your neighborhood. So I wanted to point that out as well. So first of all, what's a good one? You want to have good turnover. You want to have a price point that you want. You want to have not only a good turnover, but at the same time, the velocity, the speed when it turns over, how quickly they sell. All these things are really, really important. And you want to look at some things about what your competition's doing and whatnot. We want to create a database. We're going to use social marketing, all kinds of really cool stuff that we want to get into real quick here. But starting out here, so defining the defining quality. And this is huge. I talked about it a second ago. Regardless of where you're going into, and I tend to gravitate towards the geographic areas, but you want to be able to, when you're talking to people about the Lake Lockengrin community or the Yankee Trace subdivision, that people know what that means. And we've helped a lot of our people, especially with our EXP downline. I've got a lot of people that are not on my team that are spread out all over the country, and I don't even know what the town's called or what the city's called, but we've helped them define an area that could be even more of a urban area that doesn't have like a neighborhood, but it could be like the Italian district, or it could be the 5 Points district. So those are all really important things that you can choose an area that's well defined, and then obviously you need to make it spin it and make that market whatever you want. Good enough population, so there's a large enough number. You don't want to go spend all these resources on a neighborhood that's only got 200 or 300 homes in it, unless that's the best thing you can do. And you can also scale that to other neighborhoods and use the same marketing pieces to multiple neighborhoods. Turnover, we talked about that. And the last thing is you want to be able to be the gorilla in the market. So if you're there and somebody else is already there, and they've got a huge turnaround. They've got a legacy of sales. Might be better to spend your dollars on another neighborhood that isn't dominated by one agent,
right?
Because it is kind of tough to knock that person off their mountain there, I guess, a little bit.
Right. So don't go on Lake Lockengrin and expect to knock Gatos off with his own tactics. It's not going to work.
Yeah. You'll fight. You'll get a fight on your hands. There's no doubt about it. And, that's what you don't want. You don't want to get into a situation where your return on your investment is not as good as it could be in other areas.
Exactly.
This is an example of the first neighborhood we did, Lake Lockengrin. Now, granted, when we talk about own the image or own the logo, we actually created this, and this is before drones. I mean, this is back in the day. I hired a guy to go on an aerial photography, and he got the right angle, and we logoed it up and trademarked it. So it was kind of a bigger deal back then than it would be now. Right. But it's nice that you guys could go in and do this very easy in your neighborhood, create the image that you want to start marketing to everybody, and then you own it. No one else can use it. So that's cool. And then use it everywhere. Be one with that logo. Kill it with it. Got to create our database. I mean, who's your audience? I mean, that's really what we're talking about. And when we keep talking, many people that are talking today on this webinar, I mean, you're going to hear this everywhere. The audience and the content is king. For us, who's your audience? And you got to create that. Are you going to get a CRM? Are you going to buy those contacts? How are you going to do it? Are you going to create it organically? Right. I mean, I literally I'm obsessive, about it. Anytime I'm in the car driving around the golf cart, I see somebody I don't know. I just walk, hey, I'm Andrew. What's your name? You carry on that conversation with them, get their information, come home, look them up on the auditor site, find out what their address is, all that information, and at that point, enter them in your database, tag them, so that now they're part of that particular database tag, however you want to reach them in the future. Let's see here. We got the websites. So now that you got your audience, how are you going to reach them? We've got our typical websites, and what we do is we go and we create websites for neighborhoods, and they look as if they're the official HOA site. Right. And we've got a couple of things to look at. It's pretty cool. Social media marketing. We'll get through this and kind of look at a few of these. But our websites, like I just talked about, you want them to be very stealthy. You don't want it to look like it's your site. They don't care about seeing your face when they go onto a neighborhood site. They want to see information, content. And I'll tell you, Nick, the best thing about it is, think of it like if you were a buyer moving to town and you wanted information on the neighborhood, where's the best source? If you could find yankeetrace.com or lockengrin.com, you'd go there and you'd ingest all that content. And then when it goes to the tab that says real estate, you click on it, guess what? You see me there going, hey, let me help you out. Right. You almost look like you're the only one there that neighborhood's willing to endorse. Yeah. And that's a big deal.
And I think it's important too, like you were saying, making it stealthy, not making it like it's your website, because of course you're going to say work with me, making it more so like this is a community website and we endorse Andrew.
Exactly. Yeah, you're borrowing the authority of the community, but you're the one that put the authority in there, which is kind of crazy, but it works great. Product placement's awesome. Like in a lot of the pictures of the different sections in the neighborhood, I'll have the Hummer that's wrapped kind of in the background so you can kind of see it subliminally. Just little things like that. It's all the events that we do in the neighborhood. We're going to have product placement there, whether it be banners, golf carts. Those are within the common website, parts of the events and things like that. So they're seeing you, but they're not putting two and two together until they actually go to the real estate.
Right.
Watermark some your logos, content. I mean, it's all about the content when you're dealing with the websites. You want to create and a space where people want to go to. So these are just two websites. We try to keep everything consistent so that when we're doing one for the other, they're just replicable. This is one, and we spent a lot of money on lockengrin.com. Wasn't a bad deal because we were kind of ahead of the domain search, but Yankee Trace, it took me 2 years to negotiate that one.
Oh, really?
But when you have the .com, that's a big deal.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Audience, talked a little bit about this. So how do you create the audience? Well, we found that the best way for us to attract, or not to attract, but to connect with the people within our subdivisions are through a private Facebook group. So we've gone in, much like a next door type of strategy. We went in and created our own Facebook, private Facebook groups. It's a Lock and Grin community group or Yankee Trace neighborhood group. And basically we've just gone in and just killed it with technology, or not with technology, but the content. We're always the one announcing the newest, latest, and greatest thing. Anything that comes up that's newsworthy. We're interviewing the HOA president. We're introducing new people that are moving to the area. Whenever we're doing like an event, we're going live 3 times. We're inviting people to the event, and then we're going live at the event, and then we're doing a follow-up. So we're creating all this content that we can then put in on the social media. And I think this is really, really important to understand, is that your audience, your events, and your content are all 3 very intertwined, and that you can't do one without the other effectively. So what I mean by that is that if you have an audience, let's say you have a great, like we have 2,000 members on our Lock and Grin community page. If I don't have content for that, then people are going to get bored and they're not going to follow it as much. I mean, everybody's going to get it every time you do a notification, but they're not going to be using it as much. But the minute you create an event, which you're creating so that you can entertain the audience that you already have, but also create the content. So you can't have the content without the event. You can't have the event without the audience, and you don't want to have the audience or the event without the content. So it's crazy how they all work in unison. And how I can explain this to you is, let's say, for example, we're having a Kona Ice event, which is one of the cheapest things you can do for your community, a neighborhood group, where at the end of the last day of school, you hire the Kona Ice truck to come out. You pay, they've got several packages. You can do 250 or 300 ices for a couple $100. We usually get sponsors for all of our events. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to promote that on our Facebook group, announcing that we're doing it. It's going to be a community awareness. People now know about the event. So it's an announcement, but it's content that's coming. And then during the event, we actually go live. So we have an awesome, everybody's looking at it, everybody's seeing it, how much fun it is. And then afterwards, you're turning around and you're telling everybody how much fun it was. You're thanking your sponsors. But you can see how that content drives the event, that drives the audience, and all 3 of those kind of work in unison. You can't do one without the other. So that's really important.
Yeah, and one quick thing I'd like to add too is a big part about that too is consistency, right? Like you don't get that large group with the interaction and the events overnight, right? Like you got to be consistent with your content and keep going. So my one question for you would be, with, like you said, the events, the content, and the group, if you were to say start with one step 1, step 2, step 3, what would that look like?
Well, first of all, it almost has to happen together, because we're using the events to add to the audience. So what I mean by that is that, a lot of times we'll send out postcards to people that are not on our Facebook group yet. And everybody in the neighborhood gets a postcard, and it's the cheese to get people to the group, so that the announcement doesn't give them all the details. It's, hey, listen, we're having this awesome event. Go to the Yankee Trace community group website for more details. So you're driving people there. So the announcement is trying to drive more people to the audience. And yet at the same time, you need your audience to do the rest. So, and then at the event, you've got a sign-up sheet that says, hey, listen, how'd you find out about us? Well, we saw the postcard. Oh, great. So you're not on our list yet. So let's get you signed up for future social events. So it's a great question, but each one of them, you have to do all 3 at once, and you got to start out with all of them, and each one builds on the other one.
Nice.
Yeah. How are we doing on time here?
We're about 15 minutes in, so you're about halfway.
All right, good. So let's speed up here a little bit here. Do you have any other questions before we get going?
No, man, I think you're answering them good. Let's get back to the content.
Awesome. Okay, so these are just 2 examples of the community groups that we do, or that we have. They're awesome. Tons of interaction. Anytime anything happens in the community, people are going to this group. Raising the bar. I want to talk to you about this because this is really, really important. You have to be super creative, and you have to do things that the other average agent doesn't want to do or isn't willing to do because they're not willing to commit, right? You got to go all in. Al Stasek talks about burn the boats. You have to literally burn the boats. The first development that I did with Lock and Grin, I literally had a $15,000 fireworks show, and I had only sold 2 houses in that neighborhood. But I knew that there was opportunity there, and I knew that over time it was going to pay back big time. So I'm not suggesting you go out and go crazy like that, but I'm just saying is that you set the bar so high couple examples of things we've done, Nick, is we wrote a theme song for one of our neighborhoods that has been adapted to the almost like they call it the theme song now.
Really?
We literally we were in Put-in Bay, and one of you're nice, one of our favorite places.
Yep.
And there was a band that was had this awesome song about, really, it was selling the dream that I'm selling, lake houses, right?
Yeah.
So I went to them and I called them up on Monday. I searched them out and I said, hey, listen, guys, can I hire you? I want to rewrite your lyrics, but I want to hire you to basically perform this song, commission you to do it. Created this cool song. It has all of our lyrics, talks about Lock and Grin, Double Bubbles, which are synonymous.
Double Bubbles. Yeah, I know that song. I know which one you're talking about now.
Yeah. So, but that's something that the average agent's not going to do if they're only going to sell 3 or 4 houses in the neighborhood. So my thing is, let's set the bar so high that everybody else looks at it and goes, man, that guy's crazy. I'm never going to do what he's willing to do to go in and dominate that neighborhood.
Right.
So that's one thing. We talked about the like the cooler program, which we'll check about that. But basically all these things that you're doing is you want to be relevant, you want to go big, and you want to throw big events, and you don't half-ass them by any means. This is just something that we started giving out to all the people that are buying waterfronts. Now we do it in all our communities. They're coolers. We've now gone to backpack coolers. The shelf life is incredible. People love them. It's almost like a little, it's literally a status symbol. When you go into a party in some of these neighborhoods, you'll have 20 to 30 of them peppered across the floor. Yeah. And if you don't have one, it's kind of like you're not in the in club.
Right. And it's specific to your community, right? Like it's specific to a need that that everyone has. That's why the shelf life is phenomenal.
Oh, it's great. But you look at like Yankee Trace, we modified from the Lock and Grin typical coolers to backpack coolers in Yankee Trace because it's a golf community. And a lot more people are out on their bikes, doing their things on the golf carts. Hell, they even have their own websites. So people take our Facebook pages. We call them Drew the Blue Cooler. They'll take them on vacation and take pictures, kind of like, it's sweet. And they send them back. It's got its own little life to it. And we also use the cooler for our Zillow and our VIP programs as well, kind of an endorsement. This is us just talking about the theme song. We've got a little promo video. That theme song is in all of our promo videos and everything. Basically, this is a sales and information center that is right outside of our Lock and Grin community. It's in a strip mall right across the street. And we basically pimped it out just like it would be if you're rolling into Hilton Head or a resort community. It's the first thing you see. It actually is specific to Lock and Grin real estate experts. So we've changed our logo in each one of our communities to have that. Nice. And when you walk in, you're going to get a video. It's very strategic on the receptionist, what she does, how she does things in the right order. These are some double bubbles that are kind of one of our little trademarks. We've got them logoed up. People come to our tiki bar in the backyard at the lake. They get double bubbles. They get excited. They take them home. It's a good deal. T-shirts. I can't stress this enough. T-shirts are the best money you could ever spend when you're doing an event. We give out thousands of T-shirts. Any event we do or all events we do, there's always a T-shirt on it. We get sponsors to help pay for them. And you'll see them. I literally see T-shirts everywhere from 10, 15 years ago. Shock and awe strategy. This is the deal. So you're hitting them by postcards. You're hitting them by your neighborhood mayor, your neighborhood publications. You're hitting them with the local homes magazines. You're hitting them with all the events. Everything is just combined and condensed into one area so that you're everything to those people and they can't go anywhere. And if there's any kind of marketing opportunity within that neighborhood, and somebody offers it to you, you better take it so that the next person doesn't come in and have that opportunity.
Yep. It's momentum. Everything added together. It's that momentum in the neighborhood.
It really is. Definitely. Yeah. These are just some examples of different postcards that we do, different events. Everything is driving people to the event, which is driving people to create a larger audience. And it's also content. The content lasts us for years, not only on the neighborhood mayor program, but we take that content and we expand it out to our sphere of influence and all these other areas. So everything adds up and rolls up, which I'll talk to you about real quick here in a minute.
Yeah.
This is an example of, one big quarterly event we do per quarter. And, we're trying to do something at all times. And then we do. And so what happens is we'll do 4 major team events that are evergreen, we call them, like our St. Patty's Day party. our entire sphere of influence is invited to this massive St. Patrick's Day party that has a couple thousand people show up.
Right.
However, in our individual neighborhoods, we're going to do specific posts and basically invite those people in that neighborhood to the Yankee Trace St. Patty's Day party put on by Andrew Gatosh and Associates. So they think that it's specifically for them, and then that rolls up. All of our agents can do the same thing. They can go into their clients, their folks, their sphere of influence, and then utilize our larger events for that as well. These are just some of the other events we do in our neighborhoods. And all of these slides will be on the neighborhood mayor group, our neighborhood mayor private Facebook group, which I'll have at the end for you. So you guys, you don't have to write them down.
Nice.
Trying to think if there's anything else that you wanted to talk about with respect to the events. These are just some of our results, 93% market share. And these are big developments. So Yankee Trace, we just started working on. We keep increasing every year. It just kind of keeps rolling. We're duplicating everything we're doing in Lockengrin. So this is important for all you guys. What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I was say for everybody out there that has a team, talk about team retention. Part of why we moved to our new model with EXP is because we were having issues with retention. It's the age-old deal. You coach up your agents, they become these studs, and then ultimately, a lot of times they may leave, and you basically created your competition. So we're always looking for opportunities for retention tools. That's why we moved to our new model. Right. One of our other things that we're doing, which has helped tremendously, is our mini mayor program. We're coming in. We've got one person that creates all of our stuff for us, and then all of our agents just plug and play their face. They pick and choose what they want to use. They can customize their entire neighborhood mayor program for that development off of an easy pick and choose spreadsheet that we can show you if we got time. But it's huge, guys. If you have the opportunity to create a partner with you, a long-term partner with your teammates, you only have so much bandwidth. I can only shake so many hands and kiss so many babies. Right. I need others to be doing the same thing in their neighborhoods. So I pick and choose the neighborhoods I want to be involved in. Yep. And then I partner with our agents on our team for the other neighborhoods and help them with a done-for-you system. They just have to be boots on the ground.
Yep. And I think that's it comes back to you can't scale Hero, right? Like you can't scale Andrew Gatosh, but you can scale the systems. You can scale the processes that you're putting into place. I think that's exactly big. And one thing I want to cover here, because I thought it was very powerful when I heard you talk about it in Key West, was the gorilla of the neighborhood, right? Like if somebody comes onto your territory, like there's like some certain things that you do to make sure you keep your market share, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we are going to call out all the stops. If anything happens like that and we start to see one or two people trying to cut into one of the neighborhoods, it's, we're doubling down. And the opportunity for us to continue to go in that neighborhood, because it really is like the golden goose once you get it going. We can typically outspend the next person. And of course, our service is parallel to none. So we're going to still give the good service, but we're going to really we're going to double down even harder.
And I think that goes back to raising the bar too, doing something that other people aren't willing to do.
Exactly. Yeah. They get it. They may start and then they're not consistent. Guys, this is a long-term strategy. This is not something that you roll into. You have to have 2 or 3 different pillars of income. Yeah, we have all the lead generation websites with the new leads with Sync and Boomtown, Zillow, all that stuff. So that's feeding some initial quick things for our agents. But we do want to teach our agents how to do this thing properly so that they can create a long-term business for them and for us to partner with.
So here's the Facebook group, right? That's gonna have all the information.
Yeah, you guys join up here. We're going to be revising some of this. So if you get in there and it's a little content short right now, we're taking advantage of being at home a little bit for some updates here. But yeah, join the neighborhood mayor private Facebook group, and it's phenomenal. I mean, it's pretty good. How much time do we have? Because if we had a little bit, I wanted to show you guys.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Go ahead and. We'll exit this.
Okay.
So one of the things that we're working on is a program where we can go in and let's go. There we go. So we can actually customize this. Coming up here will be, go ahead and share that if you don't mind.
Yep. Should be. There we go.
You got it shared. So this right here is kind of like what it looks exactly like what my schedule looks like. I've got 2 or 3 different levels of our neighborhood mayor program. So you asked me earlier, like, what are the things you do? So if you're a first time, we call it a mayor candidate. If you're going into a neighborhood and you don't dominate that yet, you're not making a lot of money to throw at it yet, you want to do a lot more of the equity, kind of the bootstrapping, where, you know, and we've got a whole program for that, where it doesn't cost a lot of money, but it takes a lot of time. You're walking the neighborhood, you're doing door hangers, you're doing events. We're teaching you how to get to those for little cost. First term mayors are those that are going into neighborhoods that you already have at least 10 to 15% market share.
Right.
So you already have name recognition. And then at the top, this Lockingham would be considered our incumbent mayor program, where it's total domination. You're going in and you're crushing it. But each one of these, if you look at it, each one of these is different, and you treat different neighborhoods, depending on how much market share, a little bit differently. But some of them can roll up to other areas. So you might do a massive event, like your biggest, customer appreciation party for you or your team at the end of the year. Well, each one of these can be invited in some kind of capacity, but yet maybe they don't work for all of them. And the last thing I want to share, so the other thing too is these are all pretty much customized. We've gone through and really broke it down specifically as to what the schedules are. We reverse engineer how and when we need to start ordering the sponsorship to pretty much everything you need to do to building out the event. And it works really well, because if you don't have a plan, it's never going to get executed as busy as we are.
Yep. If it's not in the calendar,
the last one. Exactly. This is what we provide our mini mayors. It's basically the 3 different opportunities that they want. They can go in and customize and choose what they want to choose from. You know, in the first in January, we encourage everybody to do a trade show. So, you can drop down, add a trade show. You can do, you want to do a blues fest, a progressive party, a customer appreciation. Once you click on it, it auto populates that, and then the plan that goes with it. So you build out your entire year so that you know exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah, no, I love it. And that's perfect timing, because I want to say a couple things to wrap us up here. I think one of the biggest, what you do is really you create a community within the community, right? You make people feel like they're a part of something. And I think that's absolutely huge. And the way that you're able to do that is through those consistent actions. You've broken it down into a duplicatable system, but the main key with all this is if you're not consistent with it, you're never going to be able to pull everybody together, keep the events rolling, and really build those groups. So I think, like I said, you make people feel like they're a part of something, and that's how you become the mayor in each one of those communities.
No, you're absolutely right. I hear it every day. Hey, thanks for bringing the community together. Thanks for what all you do for the community. And it is great. I mean, we started doing these things in Lockingham not strategically. We were doing them to bring the community together. I mean, really, because we like to have fun. And turns out it works.
That's awesome. Andrew, thank you for coming on and adding massive value. I always enjoy this presentation. Every time I hear it.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. And any questions, reach out to myself. I'm good friends with Andrew. I could send him a message anytime if you've got specific questions about his presentation, how he took over that neighborhood and dominated and then duplicated it in a totally different market. That was only a couple years ago when he went to that second market that he mentioned. Lake Lockingham is his primary market, but he was able to duplicate exactly what he did, take over another market, and really be a community, a pillar to his community, help the local businesses, and in turn, the local businesses and the local community supported him as the real estate expert. So if you ever want to learn more about it, just let us know. Shoot me a message, whatever you want. This is available for replay here and on my YouTube channel. So let me know if I could ever be of any assistance to you or your business. Hope you learned something and have a great day.